Recording in progress.
It's the 10th of July. This is Rabbi Furst, Havos Halaovos.
Okay. Fine. Again, thank you, Lou. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst, as we mentioned. Here at Shiva Salman Nafshi Shleim Kir of Zoom. Our first year this morning, Halaovos Shar Heshbon Hanefesh. We are in the 17th of 30 spiritual accountings a person should take for himself. Yeah, let's begin again. We are in the last paragraph of the first page of the document, and it's in the middle of the 17th Heshbon. ואנחנו חייבים לעזר מן גימל רע. Anyone like to read?
Okay. V'nachnu chayavim lehazhir min hara v'gimel devarim. So we are obligated to be careful with what is hara?
Three types of detrimental things. Three types of three bad things. Three types of bad things. Three types of bad things.
Ha'aleph, the first one, mayhem of them, bifgia hayad, touching of the hand.
Well, that means to hit somebody. Meaning, if you, what we've been discussing as follows. The Havos Halaovos has been explaining that when a person feels inclined to have social interaction, get involved with people, he should think about the necessity of why he wants to become socially involved. Being involved with people is fraught with dangers. Many things that are dangerous about getting involved with groups of people, and primarily when a person's going to be involved with groups of people, he is placing himself at risk, because when a person's in a group, if he'll see things which are not being done properly, he has a chiyuv to protest against those who are doing things improperly or wrongly, or there maybe even be openly transgressing. They might be talking lashon hara, they might be making litzanos, right? He sees these things happening. He's involved with that group. He's obligated to explain and protest against what they're doing that's wrong. And he has to do that in one of three ways, right? We are obligated to warn people about that which is evil in three different ways. That is through actual physical force. Physical force. So he needs to, if necessary, he needs to use even physical force, have people stop doing something which is wrong.
Kamo shasa Pinchas b'devar Zimri v'Kazbi. Like, for example, what was done by Pinchas in the matter of Zimri and Cosby.
Right, that's going to be the end of this week's parsha. Exactly, this week's parsha will be at the end of Parsha's Bilam, after Balak tried to hire Bilam and it was unsuccessful, and instead of giving curses, he gave brachas. So Balak was obviously very disappointed. So rather than just leave him without any recourse, Bilam, before he left Balak, gave him an eitzah how to try and cause Klal Yisrael to sin. And part of that led to the Maisa with Pinchas against Zimri and Cosby, which is the very end of this week's parsha. So Pinchas had to take things into his own hand and literally use force. That's number one. Number two.
V'habet l'machos b'divarim. Machos is to strike,
To protest.
protest. Secondly, is to protest these things.
Well, the b'divarim, verbally. The b'divarim, verbally.
Kamo she'asa Moshe be'amru the Rasha, like was done by Moshe when he spoke to the wicked Jews.
Right. That was Dustin and Viram in Parsha Shmos, if you remember.
Right.
Viram. Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to them, calling them Russia.
Lema tacha ra'ach re'ach
Re'echa.
re'echa. Why are you striking your friend?
That's right.
The third one, believe with the heart. Kamash Malan, David, Ayin Hay.
Kemash Chasev David Ava Shalom.
As it is written about David, peace be upon him. Shenasi Kahal Marim Vagomer. I don't know this sentence.
You know, Senesi, mean I hated the Kahal, the group, the community of evil ones. I hated the group of the evil ones.
I don't know. I don't recognize that. David said that?
Yeah, David. Let's see. Let's find it for you. 1 minute. Okay. Sure. One second. If you look into Tehillim, Tehillim Perek Chav Vav, Tehillim Perek Chav Vav, Pasuk Hey.
Okay, Tehillim, Kafvav. Kafvav 26. What's the pasuk again, please?
Hey,
Pasuk Hey. I have hated the congregation of evildoers, and I do not sit with the wicked. I wash my hands of innocency, so I compass my altar. Um, okay, what's the context here? Of David, judge me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity. I have trusted in the Lord, I shall not slip. Examine me, O Lord, and prove me. Try my reins and my heart, for thy loyal love is before my eyes. I have walked in thy truth. I have sat with vain persons, neither do I enter the company of dissemblers. I have hated the congregation of evildoers, and I do not sit with the wicked. Okay.
so you hear, so David is saying about himself that even though perhaps he couldn't do anything about what they were doing in terms of whatever evil they were doing, but nevertheless, he still hated them in his heart. And so that's the way you have to feel about them. You have to, people are doing things that are wrong. You have to, you have to hate them, even if you can't do anything about what they're doing. But at least you don't have any affinity for them.
Right. V'im yachol l'machos biado v'lo yimcha. And if he's able, what is l'machos?
Right? If a person's able to protest against people doing something wrong, and he doesn't protest, right?
And he doesn't protest, okay, he will be miktsar. What's miktsar?
It's sort of like he like be cut off.
Ve'im yikasha alav l'machos biado. Uh, and if uh, it's difficult for him to protest yimcha b'dvarim. He protests with words.
Right. Meaning if it's difficult for him to protest physically, so he should at least make a verbal protest.
Ve'im eno yachol limchos b'dvarim. If he's not even able to protest with words, chayav la'sos zos b'libo. He's obligated to protest in his heart.
Right. At least he shouldn't sympathize with them. He should despise them rather than sympathize with them.
Right. Anu chayavim apo, we're obligated to be angry.
Right.
The machos harishaim
Al Kopani.
al kol panim.
In any case, meaning you must protest against those who are Rishoyim under all circumstances.
Sh'ar ami haaretz nim latim min hakator. Let's see. It's not my nation or with what's me, my nation or with me?
No, this is Amei Arts. Amei Arts. It's not that the unlearned people are are exempt. Can't say since they don't know they're exempt. I just want to look this up. Um, hmm, okay. Okay. One second. Right. That he's saying like this. Don't think a person who's going to be involved with the general public, right? And those people are going to be in general Amei Aretz, right? You can't say that the Amei Aretz are exempt from punishments. So therefore, if you know better and you're going to be amongst them, you're going to have to protest against what they're doing wrong because they're in any case, whether you're going to protest or not, they're still going to be punished for what they're doing wrong. So you have an obligation to save them from their punishment. So realize if a person is going to go and be involved with the general public, he's going to find many, many things by which he's going to have to protest against. So therefore, if a person finds himself having a desire have social interaction with people has to realize that he's actually asking for a lot of trouble for himself because he's going to be involved with a lot of people who are not as knowledgeable as him, and they're going to be doing a lot of things that are not correct, and he's going to be obligated to correct them, to protest against them. And if he doesn't, if he has the power to protest against them and he doesn't protest, everything that they do wrong is going to be attributed to him.
And what if he knows that his protest is not only going to not work, but it's going to be counterproductive?
That's what he said. He said here, there are three ways. There are three ways you have to protest. One is by with physical force if necessary, and uh, that's the third line up from the bottom of the page. Right? If he is going to be able to protest and he doesn't protest, he's going to be culpable as well. Right? But he said that that's only if he's able to, right? Right? Ve'im niksha alav limchos biado. If it's going to be difficult for him to protest physically, if it's not possible to protest physically, he has to protest verbally. And if he can't protest verbally, he has to at least hate them in his heart.
So we have many Jewish people in Israel. Majority of Jewish people in Israel, who I would think are in this category. They're ignorant to a certain extent. They're doing the wrong thing. Um, there's such a controversy that protesting is not going to work. It's probably just going to be counterproductive. So, are we saying that we're obligated to hate these people?
For sure, definitely. And also you're obligated not to get involved with them. You're gonna just you're just gonna put yourself in a in a in a no-win situation. Don't get involved with such people.
Well, what about the obligation to love your fellow Jew? That only applies if the fellow Jew is somebody who's keeping the Torah.
Depends. First of all, if you really love them, right? The worst thing you want them to see happen to them is to lose their olam haba, to do averas. So you should try your very best to be able to influence them that should change their ways. You're not you're only enabling people if through your love of people, you're enabling them to continue doing their sins. You're not benefiting them at all.
So it would seem that you should try to makar of them.
If you can, for sure. That all depends on how and where and who you're doing it with, right? Definitely, if you have an opportunity, You should try your very best to try and open their eyes and bring them to closer to serving Hashem. That's definitely an obligation. That's the biggest form of love that you can possibly have. And try and bring another Jew closer to serving Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's the biggest and the best thing you possibly can do for another Jew. For sure. But again, you have to weigh the possibilities and the situation to see that you can do it in a successful way. For sure.
So I had a situation where I met this guy. He we had an outreach program on the beach in Venice, and
Yeah, right. The shul there on the sands there, right? Yeah, right.
right, right. So we put up a bunch of signs. We said, come for Shabbos, beginners, welcome. So blah blah blah, and people came, and then part of the programming was they made announcements about the ongoing activities in the shul. And one of those activities was a Gemara shir on Sunday. And
Right.
so the next day, Sunday, I was in this Gemara shir, and one of the guys showed up who had come to the program on Shabbos. And this guy knew very little. And so I went up to him after class and I said, listen, you're probably not really getting much out. You probably didn't really get much out of it today because, you're kind of coming in the middle, and I don't think you're that well versed that you can pick it up so fast. Would you like to get together and we can go over some of the background and bring you up to speed? And so he said, yeah. So we started a regular chavrusa. We got together once a week at my house, and we'd go over the Gemara using the art scroll, and we'd discuss what was being discussed in the class, and get him so that he had an understanding of what was happening. And we did this for a couple of years, and we became good friends. And I tried my best to encourage him to become Orthodox, but in the end, he didn't. In the end, I think he chose to become conservative. So he did do something, but he didn't become Orthodox.
Right.
So looking back on the, I still know him, but of course, obviously, he's in America now, and I don't contact him very often. But looking back on this, it would seem that I did the wrong thing.
And why? In what way?
Because he's still sinning. He's not Orthodox. He's whatever he's doing, it's not Torah. It's not proper Torah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I was unsuccessful, and maybe I encouraged him to a certain extent. I don't know.
Um, Again, it's very hard for us to judge ourselves in terms of what's considered success. For example, I know somebody he's involved with the on Hola, the staff in Or Sameach, right? And he works with a lot of the boys there, and not everyone that comes into the doors of Or Sameach decides to make a full, turnabout, a full change,
Right.
right? Um, in fact, it may not even be a high percentage that make a full turnabout, a full change. But you never know. Maybe it just keeps them from marrying a Goya. Maybe it keeps them from doing other things. You never know what you might be saving them from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no doubt that whatever time and efforts you put in with and did with him, and especially the learning, it definitely has an effect. Again, what's is it the ultimate success that we would have hoped and wanted? Perhaps in an absolute scale of everything, most likely not, but in some relative scale, you don't really know how valuable um, your time and efforts were with him, you know? So
So in terms of
it's
what
hard.
we do here, um, we're not saying that I did the wrong thing. We're not saying I should have hated him and so on.
No, no, no. First of all, it's a person who is he's interested enough to come in and to find out about Shabbos and to find out about learning, and he's you know he's uh, he's he's moving towards serving Hashem in some way, even though he may not even know himself what he's looking for, what's driving him. You don't know. Um, so the concept of hating them is when they're doing things wrong, and a lot of what is being said here in this sefer is that when they're doing something wrong, when they're transgressing because they know it's a transgression. And whether this applies to what we call Tina Shanishpa is a whole different question, a whole different um, topic. That when people don't know they're doing things wrong, uh, it's a whole different approach on how you have to protest against them, right? Um, so because they don't know that they're doing something wrong. When a person knows that they're doing wrong, and he sees a person who knows what's right, and the person who knows what's right knows what he's doing is wrong, and that person who knows what's right does not protest against him, so that validates the wrongdoing that the person's doing, because the person who knows what's right is not protesting against him who's doing wrong, right? But if the person doesn't know uh, what's wrong about what he's doing, simply because of out of ignorance, so then the protest which has to be made is a whole different type of a protest, right? And it's a whole different approach on how you have to try and rectify the situation for the person's benefit, right? So that's a different type of a point. When it's talking about hating them, we're talking about hating them because they know that they're doing something wrong, and they're not willing to accept your your guidance, your encouragement, your protests against them. So then the only recourse you have is to hate them, right? That's that's that, that's discussed in the Gemara. So, but again, if a person doesn't know what he's doing wrong, so it's very hard to apply these rules in the same way that it's being described over here. So it's a different set of criteria they have to apply. All right. Okay, yeah, I guess might be a good time to stop rather than start a new paragraph we're not going to finish. So, very good. Thank you, Lou. Maybe we'll stop here and continue to well, tomorrow's Erev Shabbos. Okay, tomorrow's Erev Shabbos. We'll pick up on Yom Rishon Be'ezras Hashem, and we'll start the Mr. Bush here shortly. Again, we're going to switch over to Chelik Vav. We're going to start preparing for the 3 weeks, Tisha B'av, etc. Mitzvah Shem.
Okay,
Okay.
I got Bub here, so I'm ready for you. So I'll see you in a few minutes. It's
Good.
Hashem.
Very good. Mitzvah Shem. Thank you again. See you soon.